You know, munchos, can't hardly beat it, buddy. Me and Carter like these munchos. Oh, baby. Oh, baby.
Oh, don't go in Jesus' name. They're up in heaven, but you just can't see them. They always protect you. Also, don't let Moses, I know that song. And you know this song? Like this on the main line.
Jesus on the main line?
Yeah, just on the main line.
What's your favorite one?
It's the one that's like that. The great I am.
The great I am?
Yeah, I like the great I am a bunch.
That's your favorite one?
Yep, it's one of my favorites.
It is?
Yep, actually it's all of my favorites.
Oh.
We make a miracle worker, promise keeper, wide in the darkness. My God, that is who you are. That's not always on me.
That was beautiful.
We make a miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. My God, that is who you are.
Good job, baby. All right, we're on our way to do another load of wood. This one's gonna be somewhat far away. I think it's 40 minutes one way. So I don't mind. I just charge extra for gas. So, but pretty cloudy today. But I don't think it's. Well, it may rain even. I don't know. But as you can see, it's very cloudy. I'm not gonna let that stop me though. If it's pouring down rain, that's one thing. But and a lot of times, sometimes I'll even try to wait it out in the vehicle for a while and go back at it. So, but we're on our way out there now, and I brought my handmade white oak handle with me, so I'm gonna try that out. The thing is, the axe head that I hung it on, it's not the greatest splitting head at all. So it's definitely more of a chopper. A lot of axes are you know, choppers, but if you get the ones that have the thicker profiles, they can work pretty good for splitters too. So this one doesn't really have the greatest profile for that, but I'm going to test it out anyways. I'm kind of just wanting to see as well how the handle works, how well it holds up. The biggest Amish communities around. I remember when that was just, I think, one house. They've expanded a lot. Over there now, they made another one here recently where they make sheds there as well. As you can see them over there. Those actually look like tiny homes, really. I think some of those probably are what they're made for. A lot of people are going to that nowadays. Can't say that I blame people for wanting to get out in the country and get away from mortgages. Oh, if it does, it does. Look at that wood truck over there. That's a wooden truck. That's a wooden truck. It's a pretty one today. Okay, I've got some bucked up. Mainly white oak, I believe. Maybe there's some red oak in there. chopping a tree down. It's gonna be a separate video than this. But all I was doing was testing this handle really to see how well it would hold up to some chopping, because that's pretty tough on your handle. And it split a little, which they had a split right there already, and that's where it split, was right where the palm swell is. I think I'll still be able to hand split with it for a while anyways. I may try to repair it, or I may just try to cut it off below there and do something else with it, but I'm gonna try to keep using it as long as I can, see how long it holds up. We've got a lot of white oak here and some red oak to hand split for a load of wood going to a customer. Looks like I see one piece of poplar in there. And once I get all this, I've got some more as well, and I'll probably have to buck up some more after that. I don't think this is gonna be the greatest splitter, honestly. There's the profile on it. I don't think it'll be the greatest splitter. I split with it before, it will split. I just don't know how well it'll do on this oak. Yeah, not the greatest splitter. That's poplar, which is very easy to split. It is fun splitting with it where it's so small. Yeah, it makes a big difference when you've got a good splitting profile. Yeah, I knew this head wasn't the greatest for splitting. I mean, it does it. It gets it done. That's some pretty tough oak, some of that. And that 30-inch handle, it was a different experience for me. I don't think I've ever used a handle that short. Usually always 36 inches is around what I've used. So it's definitely different. I mean, you don't really have to bring it back as far, it feels like, to generate power with it. But I did feel like after a while I was having to bend over some more than I like to. But yeah, the little handle split on me though at the palm swell. Something I noticed too though, after I made the handle, the day I made it, at the bottom, right at the bottom of the palm swell, I seen that crack, and I even thought to myself, that's probably not going to last. But by the time I had seen it, I'd pretty much finished the handle, and that handle took me hours to do. And so I just thought, well, I'm just going to try it anyway, just see how it does. But sure enough, that's exactly where it split up there by the axe head. I mean, it held up great there, actually. Even though it was thin, it didn't have a crack or mark really at all up there. And I chopped down a tree with it. Not a real big tree, but a very dry, hard tree. And it had no trouble chopping that. And that's when it started splitting on me at the palm swell. After I got done chopping that tree, chopping it down, felling it. And then the rest of the time, pretty much that the whole time that I used it for splitting, it was pinching my hand. Right here, I'm just checking to see if that round is in the camera or not. Sometimes I'll have it facing me, and sometimes I won't. It's my phone is what it is, so sometimes I can see the screen. And then sometimes I'll have it facing the other way so I can't see the screen. And I'll just set it up aiming at a particular angle. Okay, yeah, it's that I want to get or whatever. But all in all, honestly, I'm happy with that handle. Even though it's split down there on the palm swell, where I was worried about was up near the head splitting. And I've proven to myself that I can make a handle that can hold up there. And that's what I'm worried about really the most. The palm swell in this particular one, it was just the piece of wood that I had, because after I got done making it, as I said, by the time I carved the palm swell out and everything, I seen the crack. I mean, but I was I think it's one of the last things I did was the palm swell, if I'm not mistaken. It's in the video, so. But I noticed it when I had got it done and everything. But at that point, I wasn't going to say, well, I'm not even going to use this since it has a crack in it, because it had taken me so long. So I had intended to try it anyways. I think I maybe even told Carter it's got a crack right here in the palm swell, and sure enough, that's where it split at, was right there. And I was gonna try to maybe some kind of repair just to make it last, but in this video, as you'll see here later, it doesn't hold up on me. Don't mean to spoil it, but yeah, it splits on me here later. With how well it's held up here by the head, it's done great. That was in there when I made the handle. I noticed that crack. And I don't know if it's the way the grain was going or what, but to go out and get a log and to make it into something usable like that is pretty fun. You notice how the grain there was going from side to side rather than up and down or kind of diagonal. And from what I've heard, that's the worst way it can go. I don't know how true that is. And then I think I've heard some people say it's not as big of a deal as people make it out to be. That I'm not sure of myself. I don't know if that's part of the reason why this one split at the palm swell, because the way the grain was going side to side, or if it was just a particular piece of oak that I had or what. I'm not sure. It's fun to swing it. It's a little too short though, because I feel like I got to bend over, and I'm not tall. Not a tall guy. Maybe 5'10", right around that. And so I'm not tall, but I'm not a tall guy. I'm about 5'10". But for me, that just I feel like I got to bend. Over whenever I use that little 30-inch handle. I'm so used to this 36-inch Fiskars Excalibur here, and that beauty of a splitting head there. Great design. I've watched a lot of different people splitting wood too online, because I like to see it as well. I enjoy watching it, and sometimes I enjoy seeing, you know, how different people do it and everything. I don't always agree with the ways they do it at all. And something I seen here recently was a man, I think I've seen more than one, but one man makes it a point, it seems like, to try to go through the knots, and I don't understand that at all. To me, that doesn't make much sense. And I don't mean this in an offensive way at all, but it doesn't prove you're strong or tough or anything going through a knot. It just kind of proves that you're silly, really, in a way. Unless you're trying to do it for a test just to show how tough they are or something, but to intentionally aim for knots and try to go through them rather than split the wood and go around the knots, to me, doesn't make much sense. If you were doing it for production the way that I do it, you know, for a business, or even trying to get yourself in a lot of wood, you know, you wouldn't be able to really do it like that. Just because I've seen guys in some videos spend maybe 10 or 15 minutes, something of that nature, if I'm not mistaken, on one round of wood, because they want to go through the knots. And in 10 or 15 minutes, you can get a lot of wood split if you really want to, and you do it the right way. You go around the knots instead of through them, and you read your wood. You use the natural cracks on it. And me personally, if they're bigger rounds, I'll try to chop the sides off, unless I've got a good natural crack, and then I'll try to go for that sometimes. If that doesn't work, I'll just go for the sides. That's another thing I've seen guys do, is go down the middle, and it'll be a huge round of wood, especially hardwood. It's hard to do that with, especially if it's hardwood. Going down the middle of a huge round of wood, and they'll have to hit it so many times before it finally gives in, and use so much energy, when you can hit those sides and chop them off and work your way around. And sometimes those sides will come off in one hit. It's about saving energy and stuff, you know, too. Because if you're going to do this and split a lot of wood, you've got to have energy to do it. You know, if you're going to do it and just split one piece and try to go through the knots, and you're not going to have a whole lot of energy, and you're not going to get a lot of work done either. So, but that's something I don't really understand myself, is why anybody would want to intentionally try to go through a knot. I don't understand that at all. I don't, but that's just me. And I say that's just me. I hear guys say that all the time, you know, that's just my opinion, that's just my opinion. But then sometimes when I say this, it even feels kind of silly, because going through a knot's just not, intentionally trying to go through a knot it's just not smart.
With this little handle.
And you know, I say that's just me, that's my opinion, but no, really, that's just a fact. Trying to go through a knot isn't smart. Do it. It hardly even got your shirt, it's got your hair. Flick. Flick. Ooh.
What?
I hit that rock a little. Flick. 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 Strangy. 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 Strangy wood. Pull the truck back up there and try to load it from there.
How do you even do the flick?
Huh?
How do you even do the flick?
And flick it out. See? See the axe?
Yeah. So before it hits the wood, you go sideways?
You just turn it a little bit of the wrist. Feels great today. It feels good today. Where am I gonna put this tripod? All right, let's see what these do with this little 30-inch axe. A little runt. I intend to do another handle as well, similar to this one. I'm actually going to make it a little longer though. That one was 30 inches, and as I said, felt like I had to bend over with it. So I'm going to probably make at least a 34-inch handle myself. I really like the Fiskars where it's a 36. But the next one I plan to make a similar one to that one. Actually, the other day I plan to show them on one of my videos coming up soon, because I plan to make some more handles. But I got a few more axe heads, and I think I got a single bit, a maul, and then some kind of small axe head. It's an axe head on one side and the other side's a hammer. I'm not sure what it's called exactly. It's pretty neat though, and it looks old. And then I got a big saw, hand saw. And I'll show you that stuff. I really don't know a whole lot about some of them things. Some of you guys and people on the channel can probably tell me more about them. Carter, bring hither Excalibur. I'm not even going to try that big round of white oak right here with this, because it's trying to split more and more on me. See that? It's actually pinching my hand now. Can you see that? Yep, there we go. It's actually pinching my hand in that crack. I'm going to use an axe for splitting. I want it to have a splitting profile, you know, and this one just doesn't have that. It doesn't. Common sense, really, you know. Look at the difference on the heads of these Fiskars compared to that.
Oh, yeah.
Let's let this little runt take a break. Giving old Excalibur a hard time. Just a bad piece of wood. Get those every now and then, that no matter what you do, really, they're just bad. To me, in my opinion, those are wedges. If you're going to do it by hand, those wedges is what you should use on those. Usually it's the bigger ones that do that. Yeah, those heels you could see pretty good this time when we went out there. I noticed that a whole lot. You could see the hilltops. Like I was saying in some of my other videos that we would be able to do soon. We got a good rain last night and a lot of wind too, and I'm glad we did get a good rain, really. Because it's been probably a couple months since we got what I would call a good rain. But last night we finally got one, and we got a lot of wind with it. Right here I'm splitting with one hand with it, just seeing if I could. And it's actually, with it that size, it's pretty comfortable splitting with one hand. I'm not recommending that to anybody. I just wanted to try it out. I seen another guy, he was a younger man, it looked like, and he did a really good job as far as his cardio and his skill. I mean, he had two, I think they were those little Husqvarnas. Some of you all may have seen that before. And he got a lot done with them in a pretty short amount of time, but he had one in each hand. I don't believe that would be my preferred way to do it, even if I did have two small ones, which then again, I don't know, because this right here felt pretty comfortable. And that's a 30-inch handle, you know. Maybe you could make it even a little smaller, because as you can see, I maybe choked up on it some there, and some I try to keep my hand by the palm swell. But having a couple of them, you could go to town, you know, I wouldn't recommend it on nothing like oak or anything, though. Big rounds of oak, I mean. That was red oak there. So it splits better than white, but even if it is red oak, I wouldn't want to be doing big rounds with one hand. That's just me. But all in all, I'm pretty satisfied with how that turned out. The next one, I am going to try to pay attention to the grain a little bit more. I'm not sure how much that matters, but it just, I don't know if it was that particular piece of wood that I, made the handle out of or what, but I did notice a crack pretty much as soon as I got the handle done, really. Maybe even before I got it completely done, I noticed a crack. And so I don't really know how you can even find stuff like that until you get down into the wood, I don't, because it until I got down into that palm swell, that crack really wasn't there from what I could tell. So I'm not sure how you can even find that really until you do get down into it. But this is the handle that I made out of the log. The other hand, I have a hatchet handle that I made out of a 2x6. And the next one I made, I'm not sure if I'm going to make it out of a log or 2x4 or 2x6 or what. But all in all, I'm pretty happy with this handle, honestly. Where I was thinking it would fail, as I said, is by the head, and it didn't fail there. So I know that that can hold up good. The white oak, too, I think is good for a handle. I was reading a chart the other day, and it was talking about, like, the bending strength and stuff of the wood. And hickory is on a level of its own as far as around here in the United States, as far as I know, even. Really, probably in most places of the world, hickory is on another level. But there was one wood that was actually even better than hickory for its bending strength. And I can't remember what it was called. It had an odd name. But, and then I can't remember what was close behind hickory. I know white oak had a pretty good bending strength. It was still way behind hickory, though. And then maybe it was ash was another one. And even walnut had a good bending strength. It was actually just right behind white oak, if I'm not mistaken. I can't remember what the PSI it said was on both of those. But it was close behind white oak. And white oak is actually better than red oak, according to that chart, for its bending strength. And that makes sense because it's definitely harder to split. It's definitely tougher when it comes to hand splitting, without a doubt, white oak is. This customer here that we're getting this wood ready for, I'm delivering to them tomorrow morning, actually. We didn't get out here and start on this until probably 2 o'clock or a little later. And I was there for a few hours, and part of the reason why, as I think I said it in this video earlier, I may have recorded over that part, but it was that just the saw was giving me trouble, like it does quite a bit. And I sharpened it good before I went and everything. It's not how sharp it is that's giving me trouble or anything. It's just how it's running. And I mentioned before what I thought maybe it was. Maybe the diaphragm is what somebody told me, and then the carburetor maybe. I think I do believe it's the diaphragm though, because that makes sense. Because when I put oil on the diaphragm, and it seems to run better after that and start easier. So I'm guessing that's probably what it is. I really like to have that saw ported, to be honest with you, just to get some more power out of it. It has great power, but I plan to I'd like to have a bigger bar on it, and I'd want it to have more power for that. Now the Johnson Red, it has enough power already for probably a 28-inch bar. I ran a 24-inch bar on it, and it cuts great with a 24-inch bar. It's got more power without a doubt than the Macolo does, but it's already ported too. I think he told me it was already ported. It may be around 70 cc's if I'm not mistaken. I know it's over 60, at least, if I'm not mistaken, the Johnson Red that I have. But it's just a matter of getting those parts in and getting them put on. So hopefully I'll be able to do that pretty soon, because I do miss that saw. I had a Steel 291 and got rid of it. I like that saw. I love steel saws. I do. I mean, they're dependable. They start right up. I do like them. Which I guess a lot of, good saws will start right up if you've got them working right. I think the Macolo will start right up as well once the diaphragm is changed to a better diaphragm. And then the Johnson Red, it started good. From what I remember, it started right up. I didn't have it very long before I had a problem with it. Maybe a couple months or so. There are other channels I watch as well on here, and some of them are smaller channels like me, like myself, like I guess you could say new to YouTube really, and haven't been on there a real long time or anything, and I haven't been on there long at all. I think maybe around 3 months now altogether, and the Firewood just a little over 2 months. Actually, my first 2 videos weren't Firewood. Those particular channels that I watch, though, I enjoy seeing them grow as well, and I wish them the best and stuff like that, because I know how much time it takes, you know, at least to edit my videos, and I'm pretty sure it's probably similar to theirs. When you're working and then you're doing this on top of it, and you've got a family and things, and even if you don't got a family, just say you're doing this even alone, it takes a lot of time. The time to record, you know, it delays your work usually because you're having to adjust the camera and trying to get angles and all of that stuff. And then the editing takes a long time. The editing is what takes a real long time. Hours, literally hours of editing. And then the recording comes out to hours, you know. But, you know, once you get your camera set, you can usually go to work for quite a while. Or at least I can with what I do. You know, different channels may have to move the camera a whole lot for what they're doing. And sometimes I have to move it more too. But I enjoy seeing them grow. And I've met some people on there that have inspired me too, really, with how tough I've seen them. I've seen them be and things, and just different things, really, and just how humble some of them are as well. You know, I really like that humbleness. Okay, got the truck back here beside the wood now. There's the wood there, truck right there, so I actually have to back on up a little. Probably will try to make it easier. Don't come back too much because I don't want to get stuck. I may just throw it from where it is. But anyways, we're going to go ahead and start loading this stuff. And don't know how much this will put us out. I'm guessing it'll be, still won't be enough, but it'll be over a truck bed at least. It should be over a truck bed at least. I think there's 24 rounds here altogether, around that. Some of them were pretty good sized rounds too. So I think it'll be over a truck bed. Probably not a whole lot over though. We'll see where it puts us. This ended up being a really fun delivery for both of us because we got to go somewhere that I don't know if I've ever been there. It's called Hazel Green, Kentucky. And it's a beautiful place, very country and mountainy. A lot of pines and evergreen trees there and things like that. A lot of mountains and a lot of rattlesnakes and copperheads up that way as well. But so I'm in Jeffersonville, and I had to pass through Frenchburg, which is Menifee County. And then you come to Hazel Green. You got to go quite a ways before you get to Hazel Green. So it's about a 45-minute trip from me one way, and then 45-minute trip back. And we got to see some beautiful scenery up that way. And when I got there, a woman came outside, and she kind of led me to a barn where I unloaded the wood. I didn't record this delivery because they talked to me. Her and her husband did about the whole time. And sometimes I just don't want to. When you can tell somebody wants to talk, I don't want to sit there and make them feel awkward with the camera because I know they would. I would. And so I didn't record it at all. I recorded the trip there, though, and then even after, I kind of recorded some, and I plan to add some of that in here at the end. Some very beautiful scenery. But she was telling me they were from California and telling me about the prices, how, actually, I think the last delivery I did maybe as well was they had moved from California. And I think that guy told me he was paying like $2,500 a month in rent, which is outrageous. That's absolutely ridiculous for rent. And so I can see why people would want to leave California. They were telling me that the crime was up there, and that like if somebody robbed a store or something, if it wasn't above $900, they were allowed to get away with it. I mean, what kind of garbage law system is that? You know, I don't, as I said, I don't try to get political at all. I just try to say what's right and what's wrong, because as far as politics go, I don't really trust politicians, period. And a lot of the people in government I don't trust, to be honest with you. There's some that seem like good people, but it's hard to trust really any of them, because it seems like really what a lot of them are just actors. And they kind of just push whatever agenda they have and feed it to you like you're a puppet, kind of. So I don't really trust many of them at all. But I can tell you one thing, as far as how California is run, it's absolutely a shame and a disgrace. It's an absolute ridiculous shame the way it's being run over there. The homeless, how bad that problem is. Instead of, doing something about it and fixing it, it just seems like they're making it worse and worse, and allowing these people to rob stores like that and with no consequences. It's absolutely ridiculous. The prices over there, California is a place I would never want to move to. Ever. Really, it's a place I don't even think I'd want to go to unless it was to, maybe visit. Anyways, we're delivering this one tomorrow, so probably done for the day. It's up there. It's a pretty good hill here, and that's why you seen me throwing the wood up there. It was either carry it or throw it, and really it'll make a huge difference to me either way. But we appreciate you watching, everybody that subscribed. Appreciate all the positive feedback and everything too, and all the people taking time to comment and watch the way that you do. We really appreciate that. And I plan to keep doing the handle making with axes and lots of other things too. I'm not just going to do firewood and handle making, and I'll be doing, I won't call it homesteading because I've never really done that a whole lot. I want to. I haven't done it a lot myself since I've been a man, but you will see me with chickens and things like that, and I'll be showing that and the progress of it, and plan to build a wood shed here soon at home to put some of my wood in for my shed outside there. And I plan to record that process and just lots of other things. Woodworking, the playlist on my channel, you'll see them. There's quite a bit of different things. I'm not just going to be doing firewood, but firewood will be a big part of what I do. But anyways, we do appreciate you watching, and anybody that does this or anything else that you do, just be safe. I try to say that because this work here is very dangerous if you're doing it. Just be safe. Even we're using an axe, people have got hurt bad with them, very bad. So anybody that does this, just be safe and take your time and try your best to learn as much as you can before you get too deep into it. But we appreciate you watching, and as I said, be safe and God bless you. Moon right there, sun setting over there. We're heading out. Ready to get out of here. Let's get out of here, Carter. Let me leave him here. Huh? First time I've ever been to Hazel Green, I think. Beautiful out this way. Just got the delivery done, as you can see. Really pretty place. Thank goodness this gas station was here, because there were no other ones on the way. I mean, the whole way, there was no other ones. Little country gas station, very friendly people, beautiful place. Heading on home.
Toward Old Grassy Cemetery Road.
All right, we're leaving this little country gas station. Beautiful place. I've never been here before. It's called something Mize. Like this little town is called Mize. M-I-Z-E. Beautiful little country store. I love these little places. Very friendly people. Very friendly people. Look at that garage. Hopefully if you come to Kentucky, that's what you get is some good friendly people, because there's a lot of them here.
Head south on Kentucky 203 south toward Allen Fielding Road.
More than anywhere I'd
Continue for 5 miles.
This place probably beats it. Or at least right there with it anyways, because almost every car I've passed here, they've been waving. A lot of mountainy places up this way, as you can see. Beautiful places. Love driving through places like this. I love going to different places in Kentucky. I'm from Kentucky, and I've been here, born and raised here, but there's so many places I have seen and so many I haven't seen, and I'm always glad to see that change of scenery. I love it. My wife likes going too, and the kids. Sometimes we'll just take a ride, just drive around, maybe stop and get us something to eat and just drive and talk. You know, and the kids will sing songs and stuff. Sometimes we will even, but simple things mean a whole lot. Those simple things were ever gone, you know, they'd be more precious to you than anything else you could get, probably. They would to me. I'm thankful for another day. Thankful that we made it to where we're going safely. Got it delivered. They were from California. That's the second person I've delivered to who's from California here recently. And they were talking about the prices there and why they moved here and just the crime there in California. And I've seen that myself, how bad that is. And so a lot of people are leaving there, and I don't blame them one little bit. The leadership there is ridiculous. So, and any place like that where you've got a leader, someone in charge that's doing that bad of a job, the place is going to suffer needlessly. So I don't blame people for leaving that place. I don't mean any offense to anybody that is living there. If you're there, you probably want to get out too. I'm guessing. Big logging truck. But anyways, we got that one done. We're heading on home now. We appreciate you watching, and as always, be safe and God bless you. Keep chomping. Hazel Green, Kentucky. Pretty place. Very pretty place. I don't know if I've ever been here. Very mountainy. Lots of pines and evergreens. Beautiful place.